This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good Erev Shabbos Rabbi as we prepare for Shabbos, Parshas Kisisa, Parshas Para, and today's Shiur is dedicated by our good friend Rabbi Tzalel Rose, Le'ilei Nishmas, his brother, Tzvi ben Levi Yitzchak. So we continue with the pasuk with the Berachas Hashachar, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, Hameichin, Mitzadei, Gaver. Now this bracha, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, Hameichin, Mitzadei, Gaver, is based on the pasuk in Tehillim in Parak Lamed Zayin, pasuk Chav Gimel, May Hashem Mitzadei Gaver. From God are the footsteps of man. Kainanu, God has fashioned. V'darkoi yechbatz, and his path he desires. So again, May Hashem Mitzadei Gaver. From God are the footsteps of man. Kainanu, they have been established. V'darkoi yechbatz, and his path he desires. So it's interesting that we are thanking Hashem for the gift of footsteps, the ability to walk. And the way we express that is Hameichin Mitzadei Gaver. Hashem prepares the footsteps of man. The Sefer HaMenucha of Rabbeinu Manoach of Narbonne, France, he says, this base is, like we said, Koloshana Pasuk, May Hashem Mitzadei Gaver Kainanu, U'rei Techuna Nifla. See the wondrous nature, Sha'asa HaBoirei, that God did, B'Mitzadim, in our footsteps, Shehim Bale Gidim Rabim, that they are the master, the foot of a man, the leg of man, is the master of many sinews, Gidei Tnua V'Hergesh, many nerves, many centers of feeling, Lefi Shehim Tzrichim Tnua Rabba, because they need great movement, V'Lahem Prakim Harbe, and they have many joints, Im Kesharim Chazakim, with strong tendons and strong joints. Shem haya parak haya mishtabrim but parak echad, it should say. If, in other words, if a man's leg was one stick, then the likelihood of it lasting would be very minimal. How would a person be able to exist with one stick? It would break very easily. Meiroiv halicha, from the abundant walking. Uchshehim mefarkim rabim, but now that they're made out of many joints, heim nikolim lahasayv l'chol tzad sheyotza. Now that man has his leg is made out of many joints, so now it's able to be flexible and it could go in many directions. A person could bend forward, backward, to the right, to the left. But if a person's leg was one stick, then it would not provide for any flexibility and it would be quite dangerous. Veheichin Hashem or hakav kasha. God made the hide of the palm very difficult. In other words, very hard. I mean, God made the heel very hard with a lot of cushioning, and it's the skin by the heel is thicker than anywhere else in the body. The thickest skin anywhere in the human body is the heel. Part of the reason why we're called Ikvasa de Mashiach is because we're so thick, and we're so insensitive, and we're so calloused, right? We're the most callous generation in history. People could be dropping dead. People could be cholim, and people walk around, shalom alay nafshi, it doesn't bother anybody. We don't give a krechts, it doesn't hurt us. But on the other hand, the foot, even though it's the most callous part of the body, but Moshe Shapiro would point out, it's also the most ticklish part of the body. There is a little spot over there that you could move it, you could reach it. So on the one hand, our generation is the thickest generation, the most callous generation, the most jaded generation. And on the other hand, there is a point of sensitivity that you could reach people that you could never have reached them in any other time. But the Sefer Amnucha is pointing out the miracle of human gait, that we have so many joints, and mibnei drisas hakoitzim, so technically a person can walk on the street barefoot and not be damaged by thorns and thistles. It's also another aspect is that the palm of the foot is hollow, so that it will not be, it will not roll when you go up to the mountains and the hills. Basically, there's this idea that a person is able to control their balance going up incline or decline. So we have over here from the Sefer Adon Hanaflaos that he talks about the miracle of human gait. He says, without even thinking, we walk by alternating our footsteps between the right and left feet. Person, it's an inborn behavior. You're not even conscious of it. When a person walks, he doesn't have to think, where am I up to? Am I up to the right? Am I up to the left? Which way I lost cheshbon, left, right. It's an inborn behavior. Chas v'shalom, person suffers a stroke, so sometimes you have to relearn the art of walking with tremendous therapy. But realize that a person never had any official therapy when learning to walk. It became an inborn behavior. Also, the pattern of human gait is a demonstration of Hashem's great wisdom. The alternating movements between left and right provide us with great balance, that we're able to do so comfortably. Did you know that the average person walks 3 million steps a year, which is the equivalent of 900 miles, you know? That's a lot of miles, or 2 to 3 miles per day. As an added benefit, the more we walk, the stronger our bones become. Okay, so now that's one aspect. Hameichin Mitzadei Gavar is the great gift of walking. How if a person is able to walk, so realize that this is a inborn behavior. In other words, it comes naturally. A person doesn't have it's sort of subconscious. It's without thinking. It's like almost like breathing and heartbeat, which obviously those happen on their own. But walking becomes second nature. And chas v'shalom, when a person loses that gift, then it's quite difficult to regain it. And part of walking is also the gift of balance. And part of balance also, it's interesting, how do you say scales in Hebrew? Moznayim. Why are scales called ears? That's because balance is from the ear. So that's an added benefit that a person, to be able to walk, has the proper balance. Another aspect of walking is if you haven't been quarantined yet, so the ability to walk outside in the street is a great hana. David HaMelech said when he was able to walk in the marketplace, as halech lefnei Hashem, ba'artzos hachayim. If you still are among the living, one of the great benefits is to be able to be free and walk the streets. Okay, let's continue another theme of the great benefit of walking. We have in the pasuk when Hagar was sent out of Avraham Avinu's house, Vayashkem Avraham ba'boker, Avraham woke up in the morning, Vayikach lechem, he took bread, V'chemas mayim, and a pitcher of water, Vayiten el Hagar, and he gave it to Hagar, Sam al shichma, he placed it on her shoulder. She placed it on her shoulder. Yes, hayeled, and the child, Vayishalacheha, and he sent her out. Vatelech, and she went, Vatesa, and she strayed. B'midbar, in the desert, Be'ershava of Beersheba. In other words, Abraham woke up in the morning, and he took bread and a pitcher of water, and he gave it to Hagar. He put it on her shoulder, and the child, and he sent her away. And she went, and she strayed in Midbar Beersheba. So Vatesa literally means she got lost. Comes Rashi, and Rashi gives Hagar a great critique. Says Rashi, Vatelech Vatesa Chazra Legilule Beis Aviha. She returned to the idolatry of her family. How does Rashi know that? The pasuk says she got lost. Rashi says she became an idolater. Where in this pasuk do we see that she became an idolater? So we have in the Sefer Nitzutzei HaTorah an amazing thing that they quote from Rav Mordechai Pagarmansky. He would say, what does Rashi mean that she went and she strayed in Midbar Beersheba? Rashi says she returned to Gilulei Beis Aviha. How does Rashi know that? Is there an extra word here from which we could darshan that she became an Ovid Avodah Zarah? The Pshuto Shel Mikra is that she strayed. She got lost. So,
you could say straight, meaning straight.
You could say whatever you want, but that's not what the pasuk says. She got lost. Vatesa means she got lost. So how does Rashi know? How does Rashi know it means she went? That's not extra, and she got lost. That's not extra either. The answer is like this. The Rav Mordechai Pagarmansky would say as follows. The story goes that the Baal Shem Tov is quoted as have his saying on the pasuk Me Hashem Mitzadei Gaver Kainanu V'Darkoi Yechbatz. What does it mean that what's his double lashon? Me Hashem Mitzadei Gaver V'Darkoi Yechbatz. Means as follows. A person thinks he's going to a place. He has to go to a certain office. He has to go to a certain location. And he thinks, why am I going there? Why did I get lost? My Waze turned off. My GPS is not working. Why did I have to go to a certain place? A person thinks that they're lost. No, they're not lost. Hashem sent them there. May Hashem Mitzadei Gaver. God's laughing. God's saying, you think you got lost? You don't know why you went there? I brought you there. I need you to be there. May Hashem Mitzadei Gaver, from God are a person's footsteps. Kainanu, God ordained them that way. V'darka yechbatz, He wants you to be there. But we don't see that. Says Rav Mordechai Pagarmansky, Hagar, until that point in life, she was a mamin. And therefore, when she was lost in the desert, she knew she wasn't lost. If you asked Hagar, where are you? Hagar would say, I'm where God sent me. A mamin b'Hashem is never lost. Mamin b'Hashem is exactly where God put them. So if the pasuk says that she's lost, the only way she could be lost is she became an Avodah Zarah, and she's lost. You know why she's lost? Because she doesn't believe anymore that God sent her there. The only way a person could be is somewhere where they shouldn't be is if they don't believe that God sent them there. In fact, Rav Shalom Shvadran also explained this Rashi this way, and he explained it with a story that actually happened to Rav Mordechai Pagarmansky. He was once traveling on a train on Friday. And next to him was another Jew who was a shoichet and a mayal. They began to exchange words, and they got into a very deep conversation. They became so deeply engrossed in conversation that they didn't realize that they missed their stop. So Rav Mordechai Pagarmansky and this mayal shoichet, they missed their stop. When they realized what happened, so they realized they weren't going to be home for Shabbos, and they were going to have to be in some kind of new location. So the shoichet began to worry, where are we going to be for Shabbos? So Rav Mordechai calmed him down. He said, listen to this Yesod. Yehudi is never lost. Wherever you end up, that's where you need to be. But very quickly it became clear in their city, there were only Goyim, there were no Jews at all. So the shoichet didn't want to say anything. He trusted that this rabbi, Rav Mordechai, he knows what he's talking about. And Rav Mordechai said, don't worry. They found one Jew who lives in the city, and they went to his house, and they banged on the door. When the Jew opened the door, he saw two Jews standing outside. He never saw this before. He started crying. He was so moved. He says, he thought, you must be Eliyahu Hanavi and Avram Avinu. He was so moved from Hispalus, and he invited them b'simcha to enter and to turn into their house. You should know, 7 days ago I had a baby boy, and today is the 8th day. And I was davening and davening and davening with tears before HaKadosh Baruch Hu that He should send me a mayal. You were sent in Hashemayim to fulfill my request. So that shoichet who happened, it's a good thing he's also a mayal, otherwise... this shoichet also happened to be a mayal, and he was mal the yeled, and not only did they have a mayal, they also had a sandak, And the Baal Habayis was sas v'sameach, and he thanked Hashem. When they left, Rav Mordechai tells the shochet, you see, a Jew is never lost. And if it says that Hagar was lost, she must have become an Oved Avodah Zarah. Okay? So that's another thing. May Hashem Mitzadei Gavar. We say Hameichin Mitzadei Gavar. You wake up in the morning, realize that your footsteps today are footsteps you need to take, are footsteps that are preordained. God has, wherever He sends you, wherever you go, that's where you need to be. Okay. What about Bechira? Says the Sefer Dover Shalom of Rabbi Yitzchak Yo Landau. Asher Heichin Mitzadei Gavar. He says, when God created the world, God programmed how many footsteps you're going to take. This Jew is going to take 10,000 footsteps, that one 20,000, hopefully more, because that's not even get you through the day, you know? But where your footsteps are going to take you, that's up to you. What are you going to do with him? Only the footsteps are established, but not the path. That's the meaning. The number of footsteps are established by God. But v'darko yechbatz. Therefore, Bechiras ha'adam lefi shadarka yechbatz haderech. Your derech is to desire the road. Taloi bechefetz ha'adam is dependent on man's desire. L'chol asher yachbotz yidrech. L'chein mavarchim al hachanas hatza'adim shahaya be'es habriya. V'zeu sha'amar Eov. This is what Eov said. Ki ata tza'adi tispar. You will count my footsteps. Lo tishmar al chatasi. Eov determined that every road that a person takes, Hashem counts his footsteps when he goes. So you'll say, so isn't that mevatel bechira? No. Ki ata tzadi tispar. When I walk, you count them. But imkein lo sishmar al chatasi. You don't stop me from sinning. In other words, Eov was sort of saying, God, if you've programmed my footsteps, then why do you punish me for sin? But the point is, God has programmed our footsteps, so where we go and what path we take, that is not pre-programmed. Says Reb Shimon Schwab, which by the way he says that the more accurate girsa is Asher Heichin Mitzadei Gavar, even though the Gemara says Hameichin Mitzadei Gavar. What's the meaning over here? The meaning is like this. Until now, we've said all the benefits that all mankind have. Namely, you wake up in the morning, and you could see, you could get dressed, you could move your limbs, you could stand up, you could put on shoes. But now it's time to start your day and act with your hands. God has prepared all the means that you could take care of all of your spiritual and physical activities. Like it says, all the brachas until now talk about the Seder Ha'olam that applies by all man. But now that we talk about man's footsteps, meaning, what does it mean, man's footsteps? Hameichin Mitzadei Gaver is the bracha, says Reb Schwab, that God has endowed us with the ability to walk freely and go to wherever we want. We have free choice. So now that we have free choice, now that we have Bechira Chavshis, we need to act in a way that is appropriate for a Jew, and therefore we immediately start the blessings that are relevant to the Jewish people, and that is Oizer Yisrael B'Gvura, Oiter Yisrael B'Sefara, and as we mentioned, Hanoisein Layoyev Koyach. So this bracha sort of directs us, and thank you, and segues us into the blessings that speak about what is specific for Yidden and Klal Yisrael. Oizer Yisrael B'Gvura, Oiter Yisrael B'Sefara. Rabbi Agon Shabbos.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.